This isn't the NFL is cheap narrative. This is the NFL is greedy narrative. And look, I understand that these topics today, and Wednesday's a good day to do this because we're caught between 2 weeks of football. We talk about the football aspects of things on PFT Live for 2 hours every morning. We write all the football stories at PFT. These are business issues that I find very interesting. And part of this goal is to get the NFL to live up to the standard they created with the John Facenda NFL Films videos that made me think that the NFL was larger than life. And all I'm doing, you created this monster back in 1972, NFL. All I'm doing is holding you to the standard that you led me to believe you live up to every day. So here we are with gambling. And here we are with the Rams down by 10 with 4 seconds left against the Panthers on Sunday. Not the Panthers, the 49ers. The Rams were 7.5-point underdogs to the 49ers on Sunday. 4 seconds left. There is no 10-point play in the rule book. They're at the 20 of the 49ers. So you got 3 choices. Well, you got 4 choices. 1, try to score a touchdown, throw it to the end zone. 2, just run the ball into the middle of the line and let that be the end of it. 3, take a knee. 4, trot out your kicker for a meaningless 38-yard field goal. Sean McVay, coach of the Rams, opted for D, kick the field goal, cover the spread. When it happened, I started getting texts from people. I know, what are the Rams doing? They're blatantly covering the spread. What are they doing? The spread's 7.5. They're kicking the field goal and they're covering. What in the world is going on here? It was a completely unnecessary play. It put the members of the field goal blocking team at some risk of injury. And look, Rob Gronkowski once suffered a broken arm that took a long time to heal, blocking on an extra point. So, unnecessary play. Just take a knee. You're down 10. You're still losing. Sean McVay was asked about it on Monday, and I don't want to be unfairly critical of the guy, but a lot of times you just kind of, I can relate. He just talks and doesn't really say anything. All he had to say is net points are part of the tiebreaker calculation. Item 7 and item 8 are based on net points. The first one is net points in common games. The next one is net points in all games. Who knows? Maybe that 3 points is going to make a difference for us at some point. We can't assume it won't. There are still 15 games to play. And if we would end up not making the playoffs by 2 points or 1 point, that field goal that I hadn't kicked makes all the difference in the world. That's all he should have said. He had this convoluted explanation about, well, they were trying to kick a field goal and then onside kick and then score the touchdown. And, he wanted to protect Matthew Stafford from an unnecessary play. That's why he didn't throw it to the end zone. Okay, he didn't care about his field goal team. He exposed them to an unnecessary play. And I've seen people argue, well, their kicker kind of has the yips, so they put him out there for the 38-yard field goal to let him build some confidence. Well, he knows that the game's not on the line. Like, when it's a 38-yard field goal and it's meaningless, you're less likely to screw it up than when the game is riding on it. So I keep coming back to, and because you're thinking, what's the solution? The solution is the NFL needs to just say, we make enough money from everything else. We don't need to stick our pockets, or as the case may be, our hands into the pockets of the sports books and pull out as much money as we can. We don't need to do that because it's impossible to reconcile taking as much money as you can from the sports books with having a game that is pristine and above any and all suspicion that something untoward is happening. That was the very argument the commissioner made 10 years ago when explaining why they were so adamant about opposing the spread of legalized sports betting. Normal incidents of the game will prompt speculation of point shaving, match fixing, etc. So when the NFL is officially sponsored by FanDuel and DraftKings and BetMGM and this one and that one, and they're just sucking as much money as they can out of the sports books, you walk right into it. You walk right into the very concern that your commissioner articulated in opposing it. And when the commissioner was interviewed by Mike Tirico a couple of weeks ago, prior to the first game of the season. He created this impression that the Supreme Court decision from 2018 forces the league to be in that space. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just creates a mechanism where a lot of people can legally make money from it as opposed to the illegal way that a lot of people were making money from it in the past. It doesn't require the NFL to have sportsbook partnerships. It doesn't require the NFL to do anything to make money from it. The NFL chose to just embrace the reality. And at some point, the light bulb flickered. Hey, this thing we've fought against all these years, now we got a way to make some money from it. And hell, if they could have sold an official sponsorship to your local illegal bookie back in the day, maybe they would have done that. Once it became legal, all bets were off. And they rushed to the vault to make more money. So why do we have confusion about what players can and can't do? Why is there inconsistency in the rules that apply to non-players and players when it comes to gambling? It's hard to get a good foundation for promulgating your internal rules when the foundation is quicksand, because you are trying to reconcile that which cannot be reconciled, making as much money as you possibly can from legalized sports betting while trying to legislate and moralize on what can and can't be done by those who work for the league, work for the teams, or play the game. It makes it very difficult, if not impossible, for those two things to mesh. And in a situation like this, where Sean McVay decides to kick the 3 points, you're going to have people who think that McVay was doing somebody a favor, that McVay was trying to help the Rams cover. And maybe the explanation is McVay was aware of the point spread, and just psychologically for his players, we covered. We didn't win, but we covered. We kept it within the number. We should feel good about our effort. They were supposed to win by 7.5. They won by 7. We were a half point better than they thought we were going to be. Let's use that as a building block to have a better season than maybe we would have had. Now, I guess that's a legitimate explanation, but it's a little too close to the flame. See, that's a problem. We're getting a little too close to the flame. And all it's going to take is one big scandal, and the NFL is going to have a problem. There's going to be congressional action. There could be prosecution. There could be regulation. And it potentially diminishes the game as we know it. I mean, maybe it makes the game better. I don't know. If the NFL isn't going to clean up some of these issues, maybe having an external body responsible for pro football is what we need. Maybe that's how we get things to the point where the John Facenda deification of the sport is justified. Maybe I should quit trying to help the league resist it, and maybe I should jump to the other side and say, hey, Congress, hey, federal government, hey, federal prosecutors, go after them, regulate them, because that's the only way to iron out some of these issues that threaten the integrity of the sport. So, and I know this, I'm able to track my traffic in real time, and the story about McVay's explanation, one of the top stories of the past 2 days, people know about it. How would they not? We're bombarded with ads for sports books now. We're hyper aware of it. And anytime something like that happens, and I think it's unprecedented. Somebody's trying to tell me the Vikings did the same thing Thursday night. No, they didn't. They scored a touchdown. They covered the spread, and they had time to recover an onside kick. You're down 10. The spread's 7.5. There's 4 seconds left. If you kick that field goal, that's the first thing anyone is going to think. And for Sean McVay to say he wasn't aware of it at all, I don't believe it. I'm sorry, and it's not personal to you, Sean. I don't believe anything most coaches say on the record, especially when their interest would suggest telling something other than the truth. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.